Allow me to take you through the stages and the effects, the experiences of enlightenment. We're all interested in the journey because that's all that takes place apparently, is a journey. So let's start with what most would associate with time and the experience of being a human, a person, a me, a name, and all the things that associate with the language of being a human, and methods and practices and systems and ways, right? We all know about being a human, okay? No one is exempt from being a human. Schooling, work, parents, the Bible, how life takes its shape, and how we follow and pursue our peers in the ways that they reckon is the right ways to be alive as a human. So within that stages of being a human, there's the childhood, there's the teenager, there's that adult, there's that marriage, children, working, and for those who do not experience this traumatic shift in enlightenment of consciousness, which it is, it's not really a you that's experiencing enlightenment, it's consciousness itself experiencing a new version of itself, a wonderful, euphoric possibility that it could encounter and become. Okay, so enlightenment is not a state that each one of us may actually fully experience, although we're not exempt from it. Some in a more subtle way, in a more gentle way, in a more unknowing way. I'm not enlightened. When was I enlightened, It didn't happen to me, But suddenly you're speaking about a different thing, and your body's appearing in different ways, and people think you're different, okay? So we've covered all of those as human beings who go through life, and then we experience death. So if you're fortunate for consciousness to take ownership of your body, for consciousness to itself experience enlightenment, its own enlightenment, then this is what to expect. Okay? Now, all of this is not a clear path of consciousness and you, right? So the old you has now been taken completely over by consciousness. No, it is a transcendence of you, consciousness, consciousness, you, consciousness, 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 you, consciousness, you. Okay? So it's like a journey of you, consciousness, and you. I, consciousness, I. Okay, so at some point you may experience awakening. Now, awakening is a form of human mind not happy with what has taken place within its life, or what is taking place within its life, or what may take place within its life. So this human mind, ego mind, forms such a close-knit association with identities and names and needs and desires and wants, that feeling of pressure that you have to become something, do something, mean something, have a purpose for something, you have to find out something, you have to establish something, you have to realize something. There's that state where the mind is so engulfed with its own needs and desires that the intelligence that it have suddenly comes to a point where the hard drive is full. There's no storage. This takes on a depression, takes on a kind of anxiety, a stress, a mental shift. But the human is not really happy with what's taking place, so therefore the human is questioning its mind, it's questioning its body, it's questioning its position, it's questioning its fitting into the world. It's a beginning of questioning. Depression starts as journey of questioning. And questioning has to lead to answers, because that's what the mind has been told. If there's a question, there has to be an answer. So this depression tends to not find no answers. It doesn't matter where I look, I'm not getting the correct answer. Because you really don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what you're looking for. Because one minute you're saying, I just want happiness. Next minute, I want freedom. I just want to be left at peace. I want to be left alone. I just want to be the same as everyone else. I just want to be free. So it's not a consistent desire. So depression is that place of dark night of the soul, where everything is really, really eating up your body, eating up your mind, eating up everything about you, eating up your world. So depression is the first state. And we call it suffering. In the enlightened world, it's suffering. This whole world is suffering. And I just want it to end. And there is a point then when you actually confront yourself and say, you know what, I want it to end. Okay? We don't want to go into that because I don't want to encourage anything. But that is an actual experience of taking place, that I want this to end. I can't put up with this anymore. And before I go any further, this is a personal experience. This is a personal journey that I have read up about. So many saints and past awakened enlightened gurus and speakers and whatever. And it's a very, very similar journey for most. This depression leads you to an anger state of frustration. I want to know. I want to fucking know. And this can lead to awakening. When you confront yourself and you confront your own inner being and say, what the hell is going on? Who the hell am I? What am I doing here? What's the purpose? Who is the one that is actually here? Is it me, or am I just dreaming this, or whatever? Thousands of questions come. And then an out-of-body experience, an immediate out-of-body experience, or a shift in consciousness, or a shift in mind's position. Mind appears to be up here in the head, all over the head, and the mind suddenly shifts. There's a sensation of out of the body, but actually it's the mind that drops and the body appears to lift. The mind drops from that place of suffering. It drops and it says, I give up, I surrender, I'm not happy with this, I can't cope, I can't provide life for this body anymore, so I have to surrender and give up and admit my defeat and beg for forgiveness. And this head drops and the body appears to go up, and there is this space, this beautiful space, as if you have just met the most delightful freedom. And then it's quickly followed by emptiness and peace and tranquility. And all the things that allow you, they're not recommended to maintain. They allow you to free your mind from that suffering, that negativity, that pain, into another world of beautiful, everything is wonderful light. And Christ himself said, this new birth. So you realize that you've just died and been reborn. It's not about I'm in another place, I'm in heaven, I'm in paradise, I'm like a near-death experience where you visit beaches and visit old past relatives. There's no visitation, there's just an escape, a freedom of something. And science and biologists will say it's a shift of chemical in the brain, and so be it. Whatever you want to know, whatever you want to think it is, then that's fine. This state goes on to what we call you don't exist, I don't exist. Not only emptiness, you become the emptiness. You cannot understand what is going on, but with a joy. It's not oh my God, it's like, wow, everything is taking place on its own. You continue to walk, you continue to urinate, you continue to eat, you continue to socialize, you continue to dress yourself, but there's no one dressing themselves. There is a dressing taking place. There is a urination taking place. There is an eating taking place. Everyone you meet is beautiful. Everyone is transcendental. Everyone is seen as that sixth, seventh dimensional being that you must have become, because you feel as if you've been transported into some other dimension. But you know everything is the same. Everything is exactly the same as what it was before. But there is this sense of, I'm free. I'm boundless, I'm infinite, I'm space. And of course, this takes on the idea of non-duality. And this is what this non-duality means. Another effect. All of these things that I'm speaking about today are effects. Yeah? Even from the day you're born, when you become a 3-year-old, that's when the effects start, because the mind creates effects out of its information, out of its knowledge. The mind creates the effect of time, the effect of names, the effect of definitions, the effect of associations, the effect of attaching. They're all effects. They're all movements into a new learning process for itself. So non-duality is when you become one. And you cannot speak about this unless you are one. You cannot pretend you're non-dual. The mind cannot work out or have an idea on what it would be like, or pretending to know, or kidding on. It is something that is very, very, very subtle. It's a very subtle effect, but you cannot see a definition between anything. The world revolves, and everything in the world is moving, and even in different ways, but it's like it's all one movement. And you're part of the movement. You're part of this oneness, this wholeness. So this non-duality again goes on, and you start finding yourself in places that you didn't really know existed, but it's a wonderful experience. Everything becomes a new and wonderful experience. And non-duality lasts for this one for 4 or 5 years. And then you start experiencing this pull. Something is pulling you. This eye is pulling you. Not your eye, another eye is pulling you. And it's pulling you, and you don't know what it's pulling you for. And it's pulling you, and you go willingly. But your body's not moving anywhere. But within you, this whole you, and this outward you, because non-dual means you are everything, is being pulled. This magnetic pull is taking you somewhere. And every day you meet something new in this pull. And again, it's beautiful, it's joyful, it's free, it's liberating, it's whatever you want me to do. I'm there. I'm willing. I'm 100% willing towards this, whatever is taking place. All the time you're at your work, you're driving your car, you're doing all the things, and everyone thinks, well, he's a bit, he's maybe a bit spaced out. He's maybe smoking some joint and you're not touching any of this stuff. You're only smoking life. The breath is now pure, it's clean, and consciousness is so alive within you. And then for this one, you meet this pool. At the end of this pool, there's this actual experience where a question is answered, and you find yourself in the forest as Christ did, or under a bonsai tree, or in some special place, and you cannot get out. It's taken you to this place and you're stuck, but you don't want to move. You want to die here. Whatever you are, you don't know. You're non-dual. You're part of the trees. You're part of everything, and you're quite willing to just give up. I don't care about anything in the world anymore. I don't care about jobs and all that stuff, because your mind is not even activated into thinking about past and future. Your mind is totally in this present moment, totally committed to being in this, whatever I am. I found myself in this forest amongst these trees, in the mist, and for days and days and days. I didn't know, I just loved it. It was great. There was no need to, there was no fears, no worries, no apprehensions, no assumptions, no judgment, no analysis. There was just this beingness. Beingness is a most beautiful word, because beingness expresses everything as it is. And of course I met this voice. And this voice, like U.G. Krishnamurti, like Eckhart Tolle, like a lot of spiritual gurus, shocked whatever I was into wow, gone. Everything was taken away. All the joy, all the beauty, all the tranquility was left for a simple contentment, simple balance. Simple. Wow. I just feel so mellow and peaceful now. The heightened idea of non-duality, the heightened idea of meeting God, or meeting this voice, or meeting this universe, or meeting the self, whatever it is so profound that when it's taken down to contentment, you can see that even that was overwhelming. Even that was a type of suffering. It was a type of gorgeous, beautiful, beyond pain and pleasure suffering. But the contentment is just, wow, now I'm home. Now I'm balanced. Now I'm back in the body. Now I'm non-dual. But I kind of like my duality now. I kind of like my triality. I kind of like being in this fifth dimension, sixth dimension, zero dimension. You're not in any particular dimension. You are beyond all aspects. Consciousness is taking you home, to the place of the beginning, to the place of that point, to the place of that purpose. And then you return. Another effect. These effects, each effect is taken, is considered, is experienced, is witnessed, and it's passed down the line. Because consciousness is a moving entity. While you're in a body, there's nothing else that can happen to you that is not moving. Moving meaning an effect on your emotional system. All of these are effects. And right now, when you come back down to the ground and you feel in this Buddhistic, contented state, the depression is no more, the fear is no more, the worry is no more, but the joy and the bliss is no more either. There's a sensation of just being at peace. Not a beautiful, spiritual, religious, universal peace, but something that just the human body can accept and tolerate and love every minute of the day. And then we go back into the usual effects of work and whatever it is. But it's no more of the depression. There is different effects. There is different effects within the world, within journey, within experience, within family, within different simple qualities of life. Simple things that we do in life. And it's seen that everything that you did before awakening wasn't even considered. It wasn't even looked at. It wasn't even observed. You could pick up anything, an alcoholic drink, a piece of fruit, and you would eat it without thinking what it was. You would eat it without tasting what it was, because it was so fast, it was so infuriating, that the reason for being here is to simply be here in a very simple, basic form, in a simple, very basic manner, and look for very simple, basic things. Life is providing us with very simple, basic breath. And we're not as powerful. We are powerful. The mind is powerful to experience the effects. And some have experienced effects of being transported into space, but you always end up back down here, hopefully. You always end up back in your body, able to discuss it, able to rationalize it, able to see, wow, the journey of life is so traumatic, but it's based on very simple aspects of life. The journey can be as traumatic and as effective as you want, as the mind wants it to be. But the fact is that everything is beautifully balanced and simple. And when you meet that beautifully balanced, simple human ableness, or that human willingness, life itself is just the same as you were when you were that 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old. But you have an information system now. You have learned all these languages, these words, these definitions. You've learned about all the things that are intellectually approved and then denied when awakening takes on, and then they exist again. So you're a child with a mature adult mind. So you can smile at the things that the adult would take very seriously about and very offensive about. But you can also smile at the child when it takes the apple and looks at it and smiles at the apple and says, wow, what the hell is this? So that's the effects up to now. That's the stages and the effects. Awakening is just an idea. I don't want to continue as a human in this world of danger, this world of troubles, this world of chaos, this world of no answer. And enlightenment is the reward for taking ownership of you being responsible for your world, your life, and you are the only one that can get out of it. And you don't get out of life, you don't get out of your body. There may be experiences of out-of-body experiences, but you cannot escape that, what is taking you on this amazing, mystical, magical journey. And the wisdom is, whatever you want to know, you'll not know. Because you're not here to know. The mind is here to know. You're not here to know. You're here to experience. You're here to observe. You are here to be aware of the effects, to be present. And you're also here aware. You're also here to be stressed, depressed, and confused. You're here to be a child, a teenager, an adult, a pensioner. You're here to be born. You're here to die. And these effects are part of something that is so deeply, profoundly, exquisitely created by consciousness, is worth being here for. So you take ownership of your life. Be here and make sure you're worth the time of being here. And have a bloody good happy Christmas, regardless of what is going on. Even if you're on your own, even if it's simple, even if it's just to eat that apple. Pray to God, thank you for giving me this apple, this opportunity. And tomorrow, I'm going to take ownership of my life. I am going to value the journey once I intrinsically seek for something more about me. And maybe we'll see you next year. Maybe not. Maybe you will be off on that awakening and enlightenment path. And you won't need this me anymore to point you at you. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Bob's Graham in Scotland. I love you all. Thank you immensely.